This is Pastor Huber, and you are listening to The Expanded View. In the past podcast, you learned that as human, you have dual natures, that you are spirit or soul housed in a physical form. The great question now is, how does a soul connect with a physical body? To start this explanation, I will go back to the deep past where humanity had a few advanced souls who understood universal law and also had the ability to see into other dimensions. They could see the body had energy centers distributed over it, which appeared as whirling colors. And when counted, there were 7 in number. I want to note right here that we actually have more than 7, but the others are not located directly on the body. The centers came to be called chakras from the Sanskrit word for wheels, because that's how they originally viewed them, as whirling wheels. The study of chakras is quite extensive, and this is not a comprehensive instruction here, just an overview, which I hope will give you some understanding of the awesome universal construction of our total experience here on this earth as we move about in our day-to-day lives. So let's get down to it. The spiritual creative life force, which is us, is self-contained by the energy body of the soul and held together in an adaptive manner to the body's nervous system through these vortices, which we might call, in total, the spiritual stem. While there are 12 total, there are only 7 relative to our talk today. These comprise the adaptation principles of the soul and its psychology to the human psyche and its experience here on earth. The lower ones on the chakra stem are relative to the energy composition and the soul's relationship to the earth in both mineral, plant, and animal form. Therefore, the lower chakras have less importance on human character, but can have a great deal of importance in manifesting the purpose of the soul in its relationship to the planet, and if necessary, in matters of the chemical health of the body. So you see, these lower ones are more related to our earth experience. As you can see, this material on the spiritual stem that we will cover are those that relate to the spiritual force of the soul, as these aid in the development of self-consciousness and more self-understanding, and influence the individual on its present evolution. Interesting to note that this spiritual stem can be visualized as a caduceus. One serpent represents the spiritual nature as it winds itself around the spinal column for the synthesis of the life force, while the other serpent represents the physical embodiment. You remember that most physicians use this symbol. Original chakra names from the ancient Vedic culture are still used by some people. However, my teacher and mentor, Reverend Michel Lusson, uses the name of the endocrine gland, which is affected by the nerve supply into which the soul has connected at the spinal column. These explanations are from her early channelings well over 40 years ago. Each chakra within your body supplies coded energy information that influences and directs your experience in a unique way. When your chakras are clear and working well, you experience physical and emotional balance and mental clarity. Your awareness is expanded and intensified. When a given chakra is blocked and dysfunctional, you experience obstacles and confusion in the area of your life governed by that chakra. Now we'll begin up the spiritual stem. The first is known as the root or gonadal chakra. This lowest and first vortex exists near the sacral plate at the base of the spine, which energizes the soul to be grounded and secured in the present embodiment. It is therefore the vortex that conditions the psyche to take responsibility for honoring the conditions necessary to secure the life. These are such as the choosing of all the conditions of birth, the father, the mother, the environment, and its whole total survival. This base vortex has only two energy nuclei within it, one relating to grounding the spirit and the other relating to securing the physical life force. So this first chakra relates us to the earth for our survival. It is not just for sexual activity in order to propagate the earth, which is just a small portion of its function. However, it is understood that sexual activity can be healthy at any age and can help to maintain health of body, mind, and spirit. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that. Your second chakra, going up the stem, provides for your physical maintenance and rejuvenation. Our founder saw that this vortex was more barbell shaped with two functions. The one side related to the pancreas carries the spiritual DNA from previous existences into the present life form and relates previous experiences through its stimuli to the functioning of the physical. Now, this might affect the functioning of the pancreas gland itself. The psychology of this vortex usually has to do with ungrounded fears, which would be rooted more in previous lifetimes than the present one. Your life's energy will stay focused in this chakra until you have completed or healed all the karma you have brought with you. This third chakra has the dual role, which can be referred to as actually two. The solar plexus, and the other is the adrenal chakra. The solar plexus is been termed the sun center by the ancients, as well as many Eastern religions today, particularly the Buddhist. The higher significance of the solar plexus chakra is that creative power through the soul can transform physical energy from negative to positive. Through this chakra, both higher mind, along with the primal portion of the brain, can be changed to affect both thought and chemistry, even changing matter to reflect the positive charge in the physical realms. The second part, the adrenal chakra, is considered the minor master of the lower vortices within the spiritual stem. It brings together all of the relative energy interactions of the past and present between the solo and its embodiment. It remembers in energy the spiritual DNA that has been previously stenciled in either the soul's memory patterns or the present conditioned reality. It is possible through the chakra to transcend time and space and bring forth accelerated physical opportunities in order to manifest inherent spiritual need for evolvement. Now the next is the Thymus Chakra. This one protects the life force within you and functions to synthesize all the elements that make up your life's purpose. This vortex emanates from levels of higher intelligence, energizing the purpose of the soul in the physical embodiment. The why and the reason for life are its subjects. The Thymus Chakra represents universal love in human form and is often termed the Heart Chakra. This is the spiritual blueprint of the soul planes to the electromagnetic currents of the physical. This chakra vibrates in many kindred souls to the same universal soul rhythm, so that these kindreds can identify one another due to what their heart is telling their feelings. The recognition of soul to soul will often only depend on this vibrational feeling, as nothing else in the physical world will identify each to the other except the vibration of the heart. This chakra will be re-energized and open up again when the individual chooses a role to help humankind in its collective evolution. When this happens, it brings kindred souls together like birds of a feather for collective purposes, all with a similar higher purpose for them, so that they can manifest these in the physical. These humanitarian ventures are all related to manifestation of the Thymus Chakra. The Thyroid Chakra is the fifth chakra, which represents God's will and your choice. The ancients called this one the gateway to the soul. It is where the soul and personality energize the higher wheel for life's purpose or not. This means that when a human being desires to bring one's life into accordance with higher purpose for being, that chakra brings down from the higher chakras the purpose for the life, so that the physical and spiritual realities can align. The will center is a critical part of the spiritual stem. It is here that we determine for ourselves how to accept our circumstances, which reflect our karma, and how we choose to create the changes necessary to live the spiritual evolving life. Choice is everything. I just want to note here that if choice is taken away from an individual, it prevents them from making the adjustments and corrections needed for their own spiritual evolvement. Those who take away choice from another incur a most severe karmic debt. The next is the Pituitary Chakra. This one is often referred to as the window to the soul. The position on the spiritual stem is the lower one of the two higher chakras and is considered to be the master of the spiritual life. It is under the pituitary's direct control that all other chakras function, just as the physical pituitary regulates all glandular function under its command. This is also considered the chakra of knowing, which reveals higher realities. It is here where the spiritual creative force energizes into the human psyche the knowledge of the transcendence of the spirit, which can always overcome limitations of the flesh. This chakra functions and exists out of time, and yet is grounded by the lower chakras in the given lifestyle. When one's karma is satisfied, it is here in this chakra that it is released from the spiritual DNA because the past is healed. Then all is well, as the soul, even in the soul group, when one accomplishes this, as well as the body of all humankind. The last and the highest is the Pineal Chakra. This is also known as the Crown Chakra. Here is where the universal spirit and the subatomic form come together in cosmic fusion to create the anatomy of the soul. In other words, it is the God center, where the source of spirit creates an adaptable form to incarnate into the earth's planes and be part of the body of humankind. It is also the state of being in which the soul will eventually return after it has completed its entire wheel of rebirth. My spiritual teacher always said that we humans do not adjust this chakra, as some people are wont to do for you, adjusting your chakras. She said, because it belongs to God. While much of this may not be really understood by the average person, it is important to understand about the alignment of the lower self with the higher, and understand and accept the great I Am as the blueprint for the enlightened state of being. The Buddha, the Christ, and many other great masters have understood the spiritual principles and sought to teach them to others. They reached within themselves to achieve this higher point of light and discovered for themselves that all of humankind has the spiritual potential to be one with creative mind, as well as the kingdoms of matter in the earth. For more insight, please visit www.ccwh.com and follow us on Facebook at Community Chapel of Holistic Healing.